Hannah Reed grew up knowing one truth. Her mother, Susan, was her rock. A senior accountant with a quick wit and a fierce love for her daughter, Susan bought their modest home in a sleepy suburban neighborhood long before she met Hannah's father, Michael. The house, with its creaky floors and rose-lined garden, was more than a place to live. It was a symbol of Susan's independence, her hard-won stability. When Hannah was born, it became their sanctuary, a place where Susan's laughter filled the rooms, even on the hardest days. When Hannah was 9, Michael walked out. No drama, no fights, just a quiet exit to start a new life with his girlfriend, Karen. He left behind a college fund for Hannah, a gesture that felt more like a transaction than love. Susan and Hannah carried on, their bond unbreakable. Even when Susan was diagnosed with cancer at 38, she faced it with the same pragmatism she applied to her accounting ledgers. "We'll get through this," she'd say, squeezing Hannah's hand during hospital visits. For 4 years, they lived between chemo appointments and fleeting moments of normalcy, movie nights, gardening, talks about Hannah's future. Susan's love was practical, forward-thinking. She wrote her will with the precision of someone who knew her time was limited. "This house is yours," she told Hannah, her voice steady despite the pain. "No matter what happens, you'll always have a home." When Susan passed away just weeks before Hannah's high school graduation, the loss was a tidal wave. But the house remained, a tether to her mother's love, a promise that Hannah would never be rootless. Grief has a way of blurring the edges of the world. At 18, Hannah was drowning in it, barely able to pack for college, let alone manage a house. That's when Michael reappeared, his new wife Karen and their 10-year-old daughter Emily in tow. "We're here to help," he said, his arm around Hannah like a father she barely recognized. Karen's smile was tight, but Hannah, raw and exhausted, didn't question it. She let them in. That summer, they moved into the house. Karen cooked, cleaned, and filled the silence with small talk. Emily's chatter echoed through the halls. It was strange but comforting, like a bandage over a wound that hadn't yet healed. As Hannah prepared to leave for college, Michael made a suggestion over breakfast. "Why don't we stay here while you're away?" he said, stirring his coffee. "We'll keep the place running, pay the bills, maintain the yard. You won't have to worry." Karen nodded, flipping pancakes. "It's good for Emily, too. She's already enrolled in school here." It sounded reasonable. Hannah, still reeling from her mother's death, saw no harm in it. They were family after all. She packed her mother's belongings, her favorite vase, her books, her photos, into the attic, locked her own room, and handed over the keys. As she drove off to college, she felt a flicker of relief. The house would be safe. Or so she thought. College was a whirlwind of lectures, exams, and late-night coffee runs, but Hannah always made time to come home. During holidays and summer breaks, the house felt warm, alive. Karen cooked elaborate meals, calling them welcome home dinners. Emily, now a bubbly preteen, showed off her sketches or dragged Hannah to the community pool. Michael played the part of a doting dad, asking about her classes, offering advice she didn't ask for. It was a version of family Hannah hadn't known she craved. Christmas was picture perfect, stringing lights, decorating the tree, sipping hot cocoa by the fireplace. Karen even invited Hannah to her book club, where they laughed over bad romance novels with the neighborhood moms. "You're so good with Emily," Karen once said, her voice soft, almost genuine. Hannah believed it. Weekly calls with Michael, FaceTime with Emily, texts with Karen about the garden, it all felt real. For 4 years, the house wasn't just Hannah's, it was theirs, a shared space where broken bonds seemed to mend. But beneath the surface, something was shifting. Hannah didn't see it, not yet. She didn't notice how Karen rearranged the furniture, how Emily's toys spilled into every corner, how Michael stopped mentioning Susan altogether. She didn't realize they were building a life in her home, one that didn't include her. Graduation came, and with it, a job offer from Carter and Blake, a financial firm back in Hannah's hometown. She was ready to return, to step into the next chapter in the house her mother left her. But when she arrived, suitcases in hand, the key wouldn't turn. The lock had been changed. Karen opened the door, her face a mask of surprise. "Hannah, what are you doing here?" she asked, as if Hannah were a stranger. "I live here," Hannah replied, dragging her suitcase inside. Michael and Emily were in the living room, equally stunned. "Why were the locks changed?" she demanded. Michael rubbed his neck, a nervous tick. "Break-ins in the neighborhood. Just being cautious." "You could have told me," Hannah said, her voice tight. "Or sent a new key." "We weren't expecting you," Karen cut in, her smile gone. The air was thick with tension, a warning Hannah couldn't yet name. In her mother's old office, Michael dropped the bombshell. "Karen thinks this house belongs to me," he admitted, avoiding her eyes. "I told her after the divorce I gave it to you and your mom out of kindness. That when she passed, it reverted to me." Hannah's heart pounded. "You let her believe that for 4 years?" "I didn't think it would matter," he mumbled. "I just need time to tell her the truth. Please, don't say anything yet." He handed her a new set of keys. "Just a few weeks, Hannah. I'll fix this." She took the keys, but the betrayal stung. This was her home, her mother's legacy, and she was being asked to play along with a lie. The next 2 weeks were a masterclass in passive aggression. Karen's warmth vanished. She accidentally ruined Hannah's clothes in the wash, cooked meals for 3, and rearranged the house while muttering about freeloaders. Emily, once her ally, turned cold, calling Hannah that girl to her friends. Even Susan's vase, a cherished heirloom, was shoved to a back shelf, dismissed as clashing with Karen's decor. Hannah tried to focus on her new job. Carter and Blake was a fresh start, and she found a friend in Sarah, a colleague who shared her dry humor. But at home, the tension was suffocating. Then came the Saturday when everything shattered. Hannah woke to an empty house. No Karen, no Emily, no Michael. Their rooms were eerily tidy. When she called Karen, the truth came out. They were in the Maldives, living it up at a luxury resort. "We didn't want you tagging along," Karen sneered. "You're not our responsibility. When we get back, I want you gone." The line went dead, but Hannah didn't break. She packed their belongings, Karen's handbags, Emily's projects, Michael's golf clubs, into boxes and stacked them in the garage. She called a locksmith, changed every lock, and slept soundly for the first time in weeks. The house was hers again. Hannah threw herself into her job, finding solace in the routine. She repainted the walls, replanted the garden with her mother's favorite roses, and returned Susan's vase to the mantel. The house began to feel like home again, a tribute to the woman who fought to give her daughter a future. 2 weeks later, they returned. Karen was furious, screaming about the locks. "This is our house," she shouted. Hannah stood her ground. "No, Karen. This house is mine. My mother left it to me. You've been living here on my terms." Michael admitted the truth, his voice barely audible. Karen's facade crumbled, but she tried one last manipulation, pleading family and good times. Hannah wasn't swayed. "You can afford a hotel," she said, closing the door. They left, their belongings packed into their car. Michael's final voicemail begged for reconciliation, but Hannah let it go unanswered. Some betrayals cut too deep. 2 months later, Hannah's life is her own. The house is filled with her touch, new paint, an herb garden, Susan's photo on the mantel. Her job is thriving, her friendships growing. She's not just surviving, she's living, honoring her mother's legacy with every choice. This story isn't just about a house. It's about a young woman learning that family isn't always blood, that love with conditions isn't love at all. For Hannah, the hardest battle was fought within her own walls, and she won.